Hey friends, it's me Dan. I'm coming to you here hot and raw with my iPhone. I'm working on an online course right now and all of my production energy is taken into making that great. So I'm doing a couple of more informal, impromptu lessons and videos here where I'm trying to talk about some simple ideas that I've been articulating and working on with students in one-on-one lessons that hopefully, while being simple in concept, are actually fairly powerful. The first one that I did 2 weeks ago was called Make It Musical, all about taking technical things that you're working on and also practicing using them in a musical way. The one I did last week was called Use What You Know, which is about not thinking that you have to learn new things all the time in order to move forward. Sometimes you just need to dig deeper into the possibilities of the ideas and concepts that you already know. And let's call this lesson Simple is Not Easy. Simple is not the same thing as easy. And what I mean is, often as guitar players, we pick up the instrument, we sit down, and you can jump in and just start playing a bunch of stuff, all over the guitar, up and down, all the things that you know. We have our kind of go-to things that we play on the instrument. And that's great because your go-to stuff that you develop over years, starts as the things that you know how to play, and as you learn more things and you develop a preference for certain ideas and sounds and scales and licks, that becomes your personality and eventually your musical voice. But it's good to simplify things sometimes. Kind of interesting to go, well, what if I only had one finger? What if I had one finger and this guitar only had one string and I had to make music with just these simplified elements? The cool thing that this does is, first of all, it challenges us to think outside the box. The guitar is an incredibly expressive instrument. And not only is it really expressive, but it's kind of an odd instrument in that I can ascend musically. I can go higher by traveling horizontally. I call this horizontal. Horizontally across the guitar. I can ascend by going vertically up the guitar. It's kind of weird. It's the strange XY axis of this instrument. As opposed to a piano where up is one direction and down is the other, and that's it. Also, because we play this stringed instrument, there's so many ways to articulate notes and approach them differently. So it's kind of an endless, it's a lifetime pursuit. There are endless possibilities when it comes to learning the guitar and learning how to say different things on it. And sometimes by reducing your options, one finger, one string, it challenges you to dial into some musical articulations, knowing what notes you can play all along one string rather than relying on position playing and scale shapes, and just expands your vocabulary. It's super cool to play something one way, maybe a motif where I'm playing a bunch of G major and I'm just kind of playing the normal stuff, and then break off into this sort of one string, one finger world, like a whole other sound. For instance, I like to play over a loop or a pad because it gives me some musical reference for what the notes I'm playing mean, rather than just being by themselves. So let's say we're in G. Make a quick loop with my Chase Bliss Mood pedal. And let's just say I'm gonna pretend that the entirety of my world on the guitar is the G string and my one finger. So interesting, challenging things about that. How do I, make some lines? I was just improvising that stuff. How do I make some lines that just aren't moving up and down the scale? Well, I can hammer on. Then that's an interesting sound. I can bend. I can slide. Sometimes I just like to practice sliding quickly from one note to another on the same string. I feel like guitar players who haven't practiced that are sort of scared of the idea of going. But you hear violinists do it all the time and they don't even have frets. Being able to see another note that you want to go to and swoop quickly to it. So limiting yourself to a certain finger or a certain string or playing a certain scale can push you to dig deeper into minutiae and interesting little musical ideas that you wouldn't otherwise be forced to explore. And if you practice those things, it can become part of your vocabulary so that, maybe you're playing, in the key of G here, and you're playing some of your more normal G major stuff. And then you branch off into some other world. All of a sudden, we've left the domain of the stock guitar approach and gone into some other thing. It sounds like another instrument even. And that's what's amazing about the guitar. This is a little bit based on a thing I created that's kind of a one-sheet little game where you can roll some dice and it will generate some constraints, if you will. It's called the Improv Launchpad. You can find it in the notes below. There's a link, click it, you can download it, it's totally free. And it's just a cool way of generating a couple of parameters and some constraints to push you to practice different things. That's my lesson for this week. If you've enjoyed it, please click subscribe, like, and that little bell icon so that you get notified when I post something new. You can join my email list by going to my webpage. The link will also be below. And I send out an email once a week. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, send me an email at hello@danphelps.com and comment in the comments below. If you'd like, I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, hope you have a great week. See you next week with some new information, and be well. Bye.